up, YouTube? What's up, happy people? How you doing? How is your morning? Because I'm recording this video in the morning. That's why I'm asking. How are you guys? I hope you're doing well. If you're new here, my name is Sarah Mutanu. You can call me Mutanu because I realized as I age, I prefer being called Mutanu. Yeah, and those of you that have been here, welcome back. Welcome back, people. So a few weeks ago, is it a few weeks? Yeah, it's a few weeks. I spent 5 days with a CEO that was coming from a different country. They were coming here because they're trying to see if they can venture into this market. Well, I think they've already made that decision to venture into the Kenyan market. And so I happened to be, I was lucky enough to spend those 5 days with her. From interacting, of course, when you meet such a person and with such a title, you have expectations of them, and there are things you hope they'll do in a certain way and act in a certain way, and it's human nature. It's human nature for us to do that. When I was with her, I learned a few things that she did differently, and most of them caught me by surprise, and some of them were just like affirming to me as a young woman. Am I young? Yeah, I'm young. As a young woman, and I was intrigued, to be honest. I have to say that I was intrigued by the way she carried herself and the way she did things, because like I said, I had expectations of how she should do things. So I feel like my head looks big. I don't know, every time I let my hair out, my head looks big, and every time I tie it up, my head looks small. I don't know what you guys think. So I decided to semi-tie my hair. I wanted to let it all down, but then I just decided to just clip it on the sides a little bit because my head was looking. Anyway, let's get to the video. So I think there are 10 things that I noted down. And number one is always look the part. So I don't know if you guys know how important it is for you to present yourself properly. Like those first impression things, they do matter. So I noticed when she had meetings with people, depending on the kind of people and the place they were meeting with these people, she dressed accordingly. And there's this one time she had a very important meeting that she was hoping she had chased for it for a while. And on that day when we were going there, I noticed she dressed like a boss. Like I had spent 3 days with her and I'd not seen her like that. But on that day, ooh, I saw her and I'm like, okay, boss. The way you present yourself, it really speaks before you even start talking. It's gonna say something about you before you even say anything about yourself. So I noticed she dressed for the part, like she looked the part. The other thing that I noticed about her is that she was able to communicate what she wants, what she's feeling, but all the same she was able to do it in a nice way. Like it's just one of those occasions where if it was me, I think I'd throw a fit, because there was a situation where someone really crossed the line, and being with her, I really couldn't do anything. I just wanted to be there with her. I was just there with her, but there's nothing I could do. It was beyond me. But I noticed someone was trying to be disrespectful, and she put them in their place. Like she said, this is what I want, and I do not like when this happens, and this is why I do not like this happen. She explained herself so well. The other person had to just take a minute to process what was going on, and at the end of the day, everyone got what they wanted. And it's the way she said it, it's the way she said what she wanted and how she wanted it, that I was like, ooh, she's really a boss. She's firm, yes, but she's very polite at the same time. And I was like, so the other thing I noticed with her is she has the discipline to go for things she has planned. to go for rather. So you see the way you can plan your week and plan to achieve so much, and somewhere in between the week you start disarranging, you start picking out things that you'll do the other week because you can foresee that your week is gonna be busy. She showed me how to make sure everything you've targeted to achieve, you do it, you achieve it. It doesn't matter how your week is coming along. She managed to make sure that everything she planned to do for that week was accomplished and it was done before she left, because she only had a week in Nairobi and she wanted to make sure that everything she came here to do was done before she left. And so I was like, the other thing that I noticed about her is that it doesn't matter where you are, who you are with, you can learn anything, you can learn a valuable lesson. So we took a stroll to some place that I don't want to mention. So at that place, let me tell you, it was the most insignificant thing. Like one of those things that happen and you're like, it happens. Yeah, that could happen anytime, anywhere. I noticed there's something that happened that I dismissed, of course. But then again, as we were walking to the car, she was like, did you notice how this happened? And then how this happened in response to that? And I'm like, what you talking about? Like, what are you saying? And then she gave me the whole story of what she saw. And I'm like, huh? You learned something from that? Okay. And when she went into depth to explain what she learned, I was like, that is actually a very valuable lesson. Like, it's something that you could live by. It's actually, she got her own personal quote from such a simple experience. To be honest, if I was to explain the experience, it'd be like, huh? The other thing is, don't be the kind of people who give up on your goals at the first inconvenience. Like the first time you get an inconvenience, you're like, that's it, I'm done, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. Don't be those people. Okay, I'd like to say the reason why I noticed some of these lessons, it's because myself, I might be lacking in that area. So if some of them are sounding like you didn't know that, it's because those might be some of my weak areas, to be honest. So I've noticed most of the time when I decide to start on something, when I decide to do something, excuse me, I will start with I'm so psyched for it, I'm so pumped for it, and then something slightly small happens and I'm like, that's it, I knew it. I know it wasn't gonna work. I just knew it, and I give up on the whole thing altogether. And for her, she taught me, no, you need to re-strategize. These are things, let me tell you, these are things that I have learned in school, okay? I've read about them in books, but then seeing someone implement them in real life, somehow they slapped different, you understand? Like, I'm like, ooh, they are actually people who do these things out here and get results. So when I tell you about these things, it's because myself, I have a weakness on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the places I'm suffering. I'm weak on those areas. So yeah, don't give up on what you really want or at the first inconvenience. Just re-strategize. The other thing I learned is to network anywhere. So this woman, she was networking anywhere. I just noticed sometimes she'd pick conversation and they would just digress, and at the end of the day they'd end up with her sharing what she does and sharing about her organization. And most of the time, and out of the many scenarios I saw her talk talk with people and end up talking about herself and what she does and what her company does. She ended up sharing herself, her company, with valuable people that she would need when she decides to venture into this market, or she'd end up getting information that would serve in helping her making decisions when it comes to them venturing into the Kenyan market. But then I just realized she's very open, she's very engaging, because I just feel like you never know who you're talking to. That's how I can summarize it. You never know who you're talking to. So always present yourself well, always talk about yourself in a very positive way. Always say the things, always highlight your strength, mention your fears and your area of weaknesses, because you never know who might want to help you out in that area, or who's gonna want to give you a solution to the things you feel like they'd get you stuck. And I know people say, oh, don't always put your business out there, you never know. That is also true. So you need to be able to discern people and situations, and know the kind of people you're talking to sometimes, because you could be talking to someone who is an enemy. Be able to discern the kind of people you talk to, so don't be talking to someone who might have that would create a conflict of interest in regards to what you're planning to do. The other things that I learned from her is that you are never too important to be polite. You are never too important to be polite to other people. I just knew how to strike the balance. And sometimes I just feel like especially when someone crosses you, the humility or the politeness just goes out of the window, because you're like, you are utanijua, ujui unacheza, huyu anijui, huyu nijui. You know who you're talking to. And the moment someone pulls that, do you know who you're talking to move, just know it's about to go damn, like. So always be polite. I think that is something that I need to express. So here's the thing about myself: when I'm extremely mad, or when you cross my lines, I prefer not talking at that time, because I know myself. If I decide to talk when I'm mad, I'm gonna say a lot of things that I'm gonna regret, and at the end of the day, I will not express my point properly either. Like, the person I'm gonna be going off on won't really get what I'm trying to say. The only thing they're gonna get is all the bad thing that I'm gonna say at that point. So here's the thing: I noticed that about myself. So every time I find myself in a situation where I'm angry about something, or I'm angry at someone, I usually walk away. I walk away, go take time, think about it. Most of the time I'll go and cry about it, and because when I'm mad I cry as well. So I go take my time, think about stuff, and come up with proper words to express my point of view and why I got mad. You understand? Because I know when I'm mad, I'm just gonna attack you as a person, instead of talking about the issue at hand, like the issue that is causing all these grievances. You understand what I'm saying? So most of the time I'm gonna take my time and go away, go think about it, go cry about it, get calm, and then come back and construct a proper explanation as to why I was mad and why I feel like it really hurt me. And I'm gonna be able to express myself better when I've thought about it and I've looked at all the pros and cons. Like, if I say this, is this gonna hurt them? Or if I say this, will I be expressing myself properly with the way I'm feeling and where I felt? So I take time. So it's all about knowing what your strengths are when it comes to dealing with situations that put you in a hard place. There are those people who have really mastered their emotions, and they are able to still communicate right there at that moment and express what they feel and still be polite. And that I noticed about her. She's very good at that. There are people like me that would rather go away for a minute and then come back. The other thing I noticed about her, so there's this time she wanted to get an appointment with a certain CEO for a bank in Kenya. And every time she tried to make the call, of course, calling. Sometimes people just don't want to hear what you want. And so she woke up and walked to that bank and went straight to the branch manager, and got in. So when the branch manager saw her and the way she came towards, it was a she was like, hello, welcome. She just welcomed her and she took a seat and she said what she wanted. And when she walked out of there, she had the appointment that she needed with a CEO. So here's the thing. Myself, I'm gonna keep on comparing myself with her a lot, because then again, these are lessons that I learned from her, because there's a difference between the way I do things and the way I noticed she does her things. So the thing about me is, I do not have that confidence sometimes to just walk into places and go straight for what I'm looking for. Sometimes I hesitate, and she told me, when you hesitate, people will notice that there's something you are scared of, and they will pick on that and try and make the whole situation awkward for you. So she told me, if I had gone in there and walked with fear towards her, she would have been like, please give me a minute, just wait, do you have an appointment? But it's the way she walked in, it looked like she knew where she's going. So she told me, just walk in like you know where you're going, go and say what you want, and you're gonna get help. The thing I noticed about her, it doesn't matter. Okay, I don't know how to put this point out correctly, but always negotiate. People will see you and how you present yourself and judge and decide to do things in a certain way of which they wouldn't do to someone else in a different situation. So I noticed people would want to sell her things at a higher price because, first of all, she has a foreign accent and she looks like she got the money. So she always asks for a last price, and she made me understand it doesn't matter if you can afford something, always ask. Bei ya mwisho. Hauna bei ya mwisho koshwa. Hiyo ndio ya mwisho kabisa. The last thing that I learned about her is, just because something is nice, just because something is appealing, and just because people want this thing so much, it doesn't mean you need it. It doesn't mean you want it too. It doesn't mean you should want it. So there are many situations where I assumed she'd want things because other women in her position like them and enjoy them. And so I suggested, and she was like, yeah, I know, those are nice things, but they're not for me. I prefer this. So I was like, oh, that's actually something, because sometimes we feel like we need to fit in. And sometimes these things that are made to appear appealing or good looking or necessary for people like you, you end up getting them and you do not enjoy them as a person, because you did it because everyone is doing it. Just because people that are in the same position as you are doing things in a certain way doesn't mean you should do them. Always have your niche, like have your thing. This is how I do things, and there's always a reason why you do things like that. So don't feel the pressure to do things like other people are doing, or feel the pressure to get something because other people got it, or feel the pressure to act in a certain way because people that are in the same class as you or in the same group setting as you are acting in a certain way. Don't do that. Always do things the way they make sense to you. I was telling a friend of mine, please live your life the way it makes sense to you. And that is the most important thing that I learned from her. Just do your life the way it makes sense to you. Apart from these 10 things that I've told you, there are other personal things that I learned from her as a woman and as a Christian as well. I learned a lot from her. I just felt like I should share the general things. And also, based on that last point, if some of these things you do not feel like they really apply into the way you run your life, then you don't have to. I'm just putting it out there for some of you to consider. If you think it's a good thing or a good way to do things, then you could consider doing it. That's it from me, people. Goodbye. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and share with your friends. I'm gonna see you on the next video. Don't forget that I really do love you all. Bye.